Hi friends, I hope you're doing really well. This is Tracy Brown, and my team of non-diet dietitians and we provide trauma-informed care so you can be safer in your own skin. So I just want to, my heart has been with people all over the Southeast these last, since last week, and again, yesterday and today, and for whatever's to come. I do hope this message helps encourage people who are probably feeling a lot of survival mode right now. Help you focus on the basics as well. And I feel as a sensitive person the weightiness of the before, the during, the after of these kind of things. So anyway, those of you who don't know that there's lots of hurricanes happening in the Southeast these last couple of weeks here, and they've been pretty hard, So anyway, for those of you who don't live in this part of the country or who are overseas, just simply checking on people means a lot. So anyway, I just want to put that out there. But even before the stuff was happening, I've just had on my heart the last couple of weeks. I've been noticing for months, if not even the last couple of years, that some of the most valuable work that we're going to be doing in our recovery is not overlooking the power, the absolute shifting power of probably the two hardest things that are hardest for us to do because they're so vulnerable. One of them is being in proximity to safe relationship, and the other is simply eating the food. And I'm going to elaborate on both of those things because I know everybody's in different circumstances. But I was thinking about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it just didn't feel right timing to share this yet. But I was thinking, and I know I've done it in past videos, so I'm just kind of repeating myself probably from years ago. But if somebody had to ask me, because one wasn't enough, but if I had to pick 2 things, like really distill it down to like where the rubber meets the road, the 2 things that I know propelled me into successful recovery. I'm going to start with the first one first, even though they're interchangeable, is safe relationship. And I know that's tough because one of the primary reasons that any of us struggle with chronic dieting, emotional eating, exercise to, dissociate, exercise to feel more numb inside, not feeling so much, like basically a flight response, to prove something, to seem powerful, whatever the reasons we're doing any of these behaviors, binging, restricting, purging, weight loss, temporary weight loss aids, whether it's, pills, injections, whatever it is, right? All that stuff is a substitute for knowing how, or having access to, or, safe enough inside, basically having this internal locus to control, to knowing how to get needs met. They're faux safety. They're not real ways of quote unquote feeling better. When you're engaged in any of those thoughts or behaviors, it's never about that you're going to feel good. You might feel relief. You might feel different, but there's no joy and there's no peace. It's not real that it's good. I feel good or I feel better. It's just that we feel some relief from a high level of activation or a lot of kind of shut down, and we're trying to change our state. So what's the antidote for those things? It's always co-regulation. And I know sometimes that's tough. Well, it's tough for 2 reasons. It's tough because, to be in a relationship means that, we risk being misunderstood or hurt or rejected again. And sometimes we're not that good at it. We don't know how. Or sometimes there's just not access. So I'm going to talk about the access here in a second, is that if you don't have safe people around you, well, then the thing you can do is be a safe person to yourself. Be a safe person. If you're wanting to elicit more safety relationally, and we'll talk about how this impacts your food in a second, is if you want to have more safety in relationship, you got to practice with yourself, and you got to practice with safe people. And if you don't have access to safe people, if it's only these videos, then be watching these videos. Don't just like, okay, listen, cool, great, got some information, or that made me feel a little less bad for a second. And it's like, watch it again, watch them before meals. I've got hundreds of them, and other people who espouse safety do the same thing, is that we want you to work as slow as, or as fast as the slowest parts can go. We want you to look at all the nuances and turn over every rock to see whatever meaning making we're making of other people's presence, or what people's presence reminds us of. If it's new, but it's good, don't necessarily reject it off the bat. Like, take in more experiences of that to build a new neural pathway of relatively good enough with people. That's very important. If you don't have that in your life, look for sources that you can get that from, whether it's nature, things like this, your sensory tools, whatever. Okay, so that's number one, though. That right there, be a safe person and be around safe people. All right, and if you're not sure what safety means, you can put in the comments below, ask me more questions. From those, I can do another video about this as well this week, if time permitting. The other part of it is the food part. When we're being intentional and we're being in the truth, and we know the truth is that, like, unless things are temporary and you've got some really good medical reasons to do it, most of the things that we try to do to fix our symptomology, it just kind of kicks the can down the road to dealing with the root cause of things. It might give your body some space, give your body some break, but it's not going to fix things long term. So we're better off to, I don't know how to put this, is that when people ask me the two things, so I just talked to you about safety in relationship and being a safe person. Two, and I'll talk about that one more later. Two is like, eat the food, meaning part of being a safe person is to be somebody who shows up, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and does their best to maybe mimic, competent normative eating. Maybe it starts off safe, but then it grows in variety, and it grows in risk-taking to learn, and not put so many conditions on it. Like, well, I walked today, or people won't reject me. It's like, no, you deserve to eat the food regardless of what you did today, how much you ate yesterday, what people think about it. And that's a line in the sand you draw. Doesn't mean it's not. It is hard to do it, but there is this level of belief that has to take shape, of knowing that pretty much every disordered eating thought, wanting to restrict, wanting to eat all the food, wanting to over-exercise, wanting a quick fix, wanting some some program to like give you all the steps to like not have to dig deep, but just fix the surface level thing. All those reactions to doing those things, again, that's about lack of safety, but it's also about just wanting anything else to be true, but simply eating the food. Because when you eat the food regularly and enough, you're teaching your body that it's safe now to increase the metabolism and to respond the way it should. Let's respond the way it should, which will actually also build your confidence, because when we have fear and doubt, we tend to do the what ifs, versus when we eat the food, now we have some direct evidence, maybe not instantly, but 6 months down the road, a year down the road, we have direct evidence that those fear thoughts are just fear thoughts. They're just distractions. They're not reality. And so those are the two things. If I had to list two, when people ask me, like, how did you fully recover? It's like eating the food and telling the truth each and every day and each and every meal about why it is I was thinking about doing what I was doing. And does that align with my values? And what's the truth? What's the truth of wanting to restrict? What for? For whom? What's the payoff? What is, okay, so if I eat regularly and enough, for whom and what's the payoff? And does that align with my values? So those, I know all this is not easy in action, but mentally to steel your mind around those things, that's where you're headed. Even if you have hard days, that's what's going to propel you. So I hope this video was helpful, gave you some maybe food for thought, no pun intended. And I know for some people, like, well, I eat plenty of food. I'll get that little bit of an argument back. I'm like, are you eating what you're eating in full view, in intentionality, to try to be as supportive as you can to your body while also honoring, preferences and those kind of things? Or is it meant to run away or be dissociative? What is the point of this? Because you can be eating enough calories but not be nourished. And you're certainly not going to be nourished soul-wise because you've checked out from your values. So we want to get back to whatever it is, this routine that we might put in place. And, again, I know there's things to explore, like the barriers that might try to prevent you from eating, regularly to build those neural pathways to become that person that you want to become, that the eating can help teach you. The same thing with people. It's like, do we isolate? Do we kind of wait for other people to fully see us, understand us? Or do we become a safe person and do our best to, discern? Are we in a situation where people are relatively safe? Or do we need to ask more questions and be bold to make sure that, people don't need to be perfect to be helpful or to be supportive? Are they willing to be curious and listen? If you got that, even if they're imperfect, there's some safety there. So anyway, just want to put this out there. I hope this video was helpful. I hope the people here, you watching live, thanks for coming live and participating here. Share this with people that need to hear this. If something I said felt a little bit like wobbly for you or even triggering, that's a really good place to explore. You can put it in the comments below, and I'm happy to uncover that with you here. If you need some more help with these topics, that I have lots of free resources on my website. It's just tracybrownrd.com. If you go to free gifts, there's a bunch of stuff that will help you with everything I'm talking about today there. Lots of blog posts, lots of videos, and some teaching and encouragement. And then lastly, lots of things to help you, whether you need meal support, one-on-one help. A lot of people I'm finding are needing help with these practical things right now of like executive functioning and kind of the adulting of putting together food and time management and all those things in recovery. And so we do a ton of that to help people as well who are just kind of feeling overwhelmed, really struggling with how to prioritize life, really. And that stuff really matters. That really matters to the trajectory of recovery. And we don't want anybody to be mentally spinning any longer than they have to be. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.